Ajao. I work with the business accounting team over at TeamApt. I basically lead the team as the product and business lead. Quick one on what we do in business accounting. So business accounting is a faction of TeamApt that takes care of everything accounting for our businesses. So think of balance sheets, think of figuring out the health of your business, think of knowing your net position, whether you are running at loss or whether you are making profits, think of generating your cash flow statements, your P&L. Basically, we shift the burden of accounting off the businesses, and then we allow them focus on their business needs. So yeah, basically that's what the faction of that does at
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So I mean, abstracting complexities from day-to-day operations of running your business is very important. And so when we build tools like this, like it should be removing from the work, not adding to the work. If when you're running a sales business, you're all about selling, not like, okay, and then this and then that. So great to see that you build it exactly make things easier for trading. How about you, Kevin?
Hi, I'm Kelvin Omechukwu, co-founder, CEO of Bumper. At Bumper, we are building the infrastructure that will power digital commerce for small business owners. As we all know, there are a lot of small business owners today. I'm sure everyone sitting here would know at least 5 small business owners that is selling something either on on their WhatsApp or Instagram or their physical store. And what we do is basically to provide them with the tools that they need to run their day-to-day a lot easier. So by providing them with a website, also handling their bookkeeping, engaging their customers on a day-to-day basis, we're helping them do all those things on their mobile phone. Yes, so that's like literally what we do.
Yeah, I think the last bit of that, like, I mean, cannot be just like so under the carpet. Like we're in a mobile first, like economy or market, and so being able to do all those things, you don't want someone to
on your mobile
on a mobile phone, because again, like stopping what you're doing to go put up a laptop or a desktop to start running your business might not be really practical for for your target market. So that good stuff there. Yeah, how about you, Adewale? Yeah.
Yeah. So hi everyone. I'm Opaleye. I'm the group
so
CEO.
do I just do my
So I'm the group CEO of Alerzo. So what we do at Alerzo is we're a technology platform that connects retailers with their suppliers, and also on top of that provide other softwares for them to run their businesses, like inventory management platform and also payment terminals for them to accept digital payments and also other stuff.
Awesome, awesome. All right, and Klump.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Celestine. I am the CEO and co-founder of Klump. Essentially, we're a technology company that enables merchants extend credits to their customers at the point of checkout in 4 simple payment installments. We allow merchants to do that online and offline in-store. Thanks.
All right. So I always one of the theme of the conference is what next. It's always good to like pause and see where we've come from. After all, you all ventured out to start what you're doing because you saw a problem. That you're looking to actually like fill. And so when we when we think about commerce and trade, I really want to hear like what was that thing that you saw to say I want to actually start my venture. So what did Klump see? What did Alerzo see? What did Bumper see? What did TeamApt see that say, okay, this is a gap. I want to build what I'm building right now. And perhaps what you've built actually has evolved over time, but like from the onset, what was that thing that actually was that spurring for us to say I want to go build something to actually build bridge a gap? So if you can just share that as well.
Okay, thanks. So I spent the last 10 years of my career in payment and e-commerce. I used to work at Paystack, then worked at Konga also. During those times at Konga, for instance, one of the things that we saw was abandoned carts, which happens everywhere. And oftentimes when you get to talk to consumers and say, why did you stop shopping? You said, I had X in my bank account, but this was X plus Y, so I can't afford at this point in time. So it made sense to just allow people pay for whatever they wanted based on how much they needed. Because think about it, if you earn a monthly income of, let's say, X, that means you can afford to spare 25% of that and pay for something. So what's the point of saving for 4 months or 5 months before you can buy one phone when you can pay with how much you have today and take the phone and enjoy it and still get to pay over the next 4 months. So that was, the basic premise with which we've seen that allowed us to start at Klump.
So it was really much about like having people participate. It was a participation problem because, like I said, I could wait 4 months and not participate in trading and commerce, but now I'm able to do that with a fraction of what's required of me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And what about Alerzo? Like, what was that spurring?
Okay, well, so, my mom was an informal retailer, when I was super young. And then after, like, spending about 3 years of my life in China studying, things apparently works there pretty smoothly. so, coming back home just to check on my family, and you figure out that what my family went through when I was young is still happening. So they'll have to go down to Central Market. I'll have to like walk around store to store, negotiate prices and all those assholes. And then like hire a taxi driver that brings the product down to the store, right? When you look at all those challenges, were like pretty terrible, and I think that was like a turning point for me because I'm like, oh, I apparently just came back from China because I had a startup that failed in China. So I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Let me kick it off. So we ended up actually doing an unthinkable stuff. So we ended up buying fleet of vehicles, owning an entire, point end to end, which is from warehousing to delivery vehicles down to the software. So we ended up doing that, doing deliveries to retail stores within 4 hours because we own all our entire vehicles. And then after a couple of time, we ended up figuring out that a lot of our retailers go home with a bunch of cash. So they make their sales in the day, go back home with cash. So I made a what I'll call back then, very terrible, but right now, maybe not, to acquire a microfinance bank. And then go get
Everybody's doing that these days, so
but for our own space, you don't need it, right? Like having to convince your investors that you want to go do that is weird. So we actually ended up building our own, banking solutions for our retailers.
Right.
So now when retailers sell products, they can accept digital payments. They have their own POS terminals.
So
Money gets into their wallet.
and all this started just because you've seen your mom go through some
Absolutely.
hassle, and time had gone and things are not changing. Like I need to fix this. Okay, that's valid as well. How about you, Kevin? Why did you decide to build Bumper? What did you see in trade, in commerce that you went, okay, I need to build something that helps retailers, SMBs really better run their businesses?
So just like Adewale, both my parents were actually small business owners. I used to be in Computer Village. I was in Computer Village since my GSS2 till when I graduated from school. So I was usually there every Saturday, going to meet with my mom. And I noticed that there was a lot of issues with her day-to-day operations. She was recording sales on her book, basically from her sales, hiring and firing staff because, probably her inventory is missing. And so in 2018, myself and my current co-founder, we were working on something else called Host Cabal. And we started noticing that a lot more small business owners were interested in having their website up, And for us, we were building those websites. It was just like customized websites for them. But it was like, how can we automate this? How can we ensure that, more and more people can use this without us actually having to build something customizable? So we had Shopify, we saw Shopify and we basically built that out. It was supposed to be a side project. At this time, I was still working at CC Hub. I was working at CC Hub, as a program manager. So it was like a side project. But we started noticing something, and this is where it gets interesting. Most small business owners that were using our platform were using at least nothing less than 15 solutions. Yeah? They had social media channels that they were selling through. They had their marketplaces. They had bookkeeping apps or invoicing. Like at least logistics app. At least three. At least three. Any small business owner here can confirm that. And we started seeing that there's so much inefficiency in the switching of apps, in data and information being missing. And that is what we have we've set on building for in the past few months. And we're releasing something literally on Monday with an integration with Meta, Basically bringing your Instagram. We've basically connected your Instagram to your bumper, so you can send products, create orders, share invoices right from the DM when talking to your customer without switching apps. So we're doing that, and we have conversations with a lot more solutions that we're going to be bringing on board, and basically helping them with just the click of a button. Remember, we are mobile first. With a click of a button, connect multiple solutions together without thinking too much about, the APIs or anything. Wow. So from your bumper app, you're literally managing everything that you do, everywhere you sell, from a central place.
Right. Is that like breaking news? Because it feels like
it is breaking news.
So
some people will fight me.
So you heard it here first. Bumper and Meta. So that connection, being able to bring your Instagram store into the bumper.
Don't tweet about it. It will be tweeted. You hear it.
So you heard it first. You heard it here first. But let's keep your other wraps till the press release go out on Monday. And what about you, TeamApt? You guys you're pretty much like heavyweights in the space right now, and so how did you go about, like, what was that opportunity, what was that gap that you saw that said, okay, TeamApt, we want to go up to capturing this or addressing?
All right, great, thank you. So for us, it was actually intuitive. The bulk of what we do at TeamApt is payment here, but we have some of our businesses make use of our POS terminals and our infrastructures to cater for their retail needs. And we sort of came in with this sticky approach. If these people want to be with us because we have a brand that they can resonate with, why not build something for them that would basically cater for everything they want to do? So our accounting is right now caters for agency, it caters for retail stores, it caters for hotels, supermarkets, and all sorts. It just made sense to build it. It made absolute sense to build it. It wasn't, it would not have been the first thing TeamApt would have thought of, because, like I said earlier, bulk of all with these payments. But then we have these markets to build something around it. People want it, so why not just build it for them? So yeah, and also the retail people that are making use of it right now basically have to go through weird means of making it possible. They make use of other applications like Keeper and all sorts. But then why not just why not just give them something inbuilt in the system, whereas they won't have to basically use 5 applications for one particular need. So that was the incentive behind entering commerce and entering retail stores and also. Yeah.
All right. There seems to be I would say a divergence, but like there's a trend here where it's like there's a school of thought of like, okay, there are many things that do different things, and so people are navigating between different apps. Like you mentioned, like again, a retailer will have 12 apps to run different part of their operations. You're bringing it out all together. Some will say, well, when that happens, then it becomes complex in itself, and so we need to actually have a breakout, and perhaps a Klump, which is buy now, pay later, is just like, again, a very focused offering. How do you guys think about that balance between, when we say the future of commerce and retail and trade? Do we see more of like the super apps or things coming together, like convergence of different services? Because you also started with something which is like, again, B2B markets, being able to buy from a B2B thing, but now you're offering POSs as well. So how do you, what's the read on the panel around a convergence of services that would help a retailer just function out of one place versus using multiple solutions as well for different reasons, perhaps specializations, use case, or even reliability as well? Yeah, I'm just curious to hear from anybody on the panel.
So with regards to the super apps, I don't think it's something, I wouldn't advise one person to go at it all by itself. Each and every one of us here, we all have our own strengths and weaknesses and our own experiences. So instead, I probably would see more of collaborations across board. A bumper, for instance, will want to offer a Klump to their merchants, and in turn, those merchants offer to their customers. Likewise, a bumper will probably want to talk to like a TeamApt to get some sort of loan, or merchants from bumper work with Alerzo to get inventory of stuff. So it will be a combination of every single person here, working together to get, at the end of the day, 2 persons that we're serving, the merchants and the customer, to become efficient.
Okay. Any opposing or supporting takes on that?
Well, so I think he's 100% right. Because at the end of the day, we are mostly servicing the same set of businesses, but in different spaces, right? So what I think is there's maybe going in the next future there might be like some form of consolidation, across all startups. I think we've seen that happening in China for a very long time. Businesses coming together, trying to like solve problems. So I agree with him 100%. I think everyone is good at one thing, but no one is good at all, right? So we all have to find our own best part and find someone else who has done really well in that space, come together to actually, create a fantastic solution.
Okay. Any?
Hello. So I totally agree with what they've said. That's exactly how we are building, where with a button you can connect to existing solutions. For us, it's not like we're not trying to build everything. We are connecting everything. I think that's like the biggest difference here.
Okay.
Well, I think it's happening already. You'll be surprised that fintech A is already depending on fintech B without the customer knowing. So I think it's intuitive. Partnership. I mean, it has to be partnership. One company can't do it all by itself. Yeah.
Okay. So commerce is I strongly believe that commerce has two pillars. There's the payment layer. There's the logistics side of things. Because yes, if payment is fixed and all, but goods cannot move from A to B, then that's going to be like, it's not complete. You mentioned you have to acquire a fleet of vehicles to also do the fulfillment beyond just buying and selling of products. So I'm just curious to hear from you because like perhaps there's no one on this point that's particularly like specializing in logistics. How much of a risk do you think that is if we all like fix, if TeamApt is working optimally, Bumper is all great, Alerzo is all great, Klump is all great, but then there's that missing leg. Like what's your take? Should payments be looking at integrating logistics in its business as well, or again, do we explore the partnership model that you mentioned, and how would that work? Yeah, we can start with you. Yeah, you have people who are using Bumper to sell.
Yeah.
But then after selling, the product has to move from merchant A to the consumer. So if that fails, Bumper has somewhat failed as well in its mission. So how are you thinking about that?
Well, so for business owners, yes, most of them, sort of like the ones that we reach out to and we engage and come on Bumper, they mostly have logistics figured out, yes.
Okay.
They have the solutions that they use, and the issue for us is the disconnect.
Right.
Yes. So they'll go on Bumper. So let me show you a flow. They get an order from Instagram, take the details, put it on Bumper, then copy the details from Bumper, put it in the logistics app. That inefficiency is what we are solving for, not necessarily saying that we're going to have to figure logistics out. We know that there are people, maybe not on this panel, but people have actually are working hard on logistics. Yes, it's very difficult, and I'm sure that Adewale can testify. So it's very difficult. So the question will be, how do we work with people that have these things figured out, and how do we make them available to our business, our merchants, to be able to use the solution seamlessly? Yes. So that's how I would think about it.
But I'm curious for Adewale, like, why didn't you like partner with, like, why did you say the need to go acquire fleet of vehicles, but why not just like partner with an existing fleet?
Yeah, so that's a very fair point. In Nigeria currently, I think most of the logistics companies you see are more of bikes, so the likes of Go-Kada and all other players in the space. And for us as a B2B platform, it's very hard finding someone that has hundreds of buses or like mini trucks that would do all those services for us. So, we initially thought about building a platform that brings in all these individual truck owners, but it ended up becoming a problem because like they're so local. Telling one driver to get a product down to a store in 2 hours is really hard. So we ended up actually doing it ourselves. So right now we have about 450 delivery vehicles, which is like buses.
But that's a business on its own.
Yeah, it's a business on its own, absolutely.
So would that always be the case, or do you think like it's a matter of time until perhaps there's another provider that then has the capacity or capability and then you then outsource?
Oh, well, so I think one thing for us is we've built the software to do routing management and all this entire stuff. We have our own in-house mechanics. We have our own, like,
He said
That's
he's the
fully
group CEO.
integrated.
He's the group CEO. Yeah, like it's a
It's
number
a
of
group of
businesses.
companies.
So, but our future plan is we've built this platform that actually makes a lot of sense. So over time, how can we start bringing in other third-party guys? And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is similar to what is happening in China currently called canal logistics. So Alibaba has a platform, has their own delivery set. Some other logistics platform has their own delivery set, but they all come together to build a very massive delivery system that covers about 95% of the entire China.
Country, okay.
So for us, we built something, and we find other players like
plug
compare
in.
notes, exactly, and then at the end of the day, would use it, other people can leverage on it, all right? But we've built the infrastructure, we've done it. Let's just work with other players in the space to actually scale that side
All
of
right,
the business.
all right, all right. Any thoughts from you guys? All right.
No,
So-
I have something to say, sorry.
Right, yeah.
So I think for TeamApt, the retail products we're trying to work on currently doesn't have logistics in mind. But if we were to bring that into the picture, I think the sensible route would be to partner with a company that is already doing it well. Because, we could try to do it, but it would take more time. Let's be honest.
Right.
A GIG would have spent years solving problems or identifying problems that happens within logistics. So why
Right.
not look for someone within the space, partner with them, or maybe acquire whichever one works.
Right.
But right now, we're not thinking of logistics, but I would go the route of partnership as opposed to building it myself.
Yeah,
So as
but
not to waste time.
Talk to Alerzo. They might maybe to like something
We,
out there.
I have like good relationship with Tosin, so we talk. a lot.
Right. And perhaps for Klump, the way I'm thinking about it is that, like, would you ever say Klump go beyond buy now, pay later, paying for installment? Would there be different flavors? Would you go into like pure lending and that evolution that sees you touch on other like past value propositions beyond what you're doing now?
So I could sit here and say, no, it's going to be BNPL alone. But 3, 4, 5 years down the road, we see opportunities that we feel like we are positioned well enough to take advantage of and we want to do it. But what I can see is that today, as a company, our primary focus is just offering credits to people at that point to check out. It's still very early days. It's not even day one. It's like day 0. There's a whole lot of work to be done. And so think about people who are serving today are people who are banked. How do we extend credit to an unbanked population? So that's a massive problem to solve. So frankly speaking, we're just going to focus on just building this part for the
Right.
time being.
Okay, and from where you're sitting right now, because I mean, you guys have been here. And when I say you've been here, I mean you've been alive, observing, perhaps not building yet, but seeing how the landscape has been. Now you're participating, you're actively building. From where you're sitting, like what are the obvious gaps? For example, one thing that comes to mind for me is like addressing. I don't think we've cracked addressing yet. When I mean addressing, you tell a dispatch provider move product A to product B, from point A to point B, and they call you, where are you? But it's in the map there. And so even your Uber rider will call you and say, where are you? But it's there on the map. So even just addressing where you're going to, where you're coming from, I think it's, but I'm curious, from where you're sitting, if you think about like the future of retail and commerce, what are the gaps that you see today that perhaps other builders or other, like, again, founders in the space should be looking to actually tackle and address that would then, again, bring about that, again, perhaps the widening of the pie, more inclusivity of, like, participation from, like, the unbanked and underserved? I'm just curious from where you see that, what are those opportunities that you see that we see this, we can't really go after it because we have so much problems already that we are looking to solve that, again, perhaps other ventures or other founders could actually go after. We could start from you.
All right. So the honest truth is that the method of salesmanship that we've been using so far has gotten us to a point where it can't really take us forward. We've gotten to a point where the adept approach of trying to get people to purchase your product by reducing your price or by doing price competition is already stale. Customers already know what they want. Consumers already know what they want. They want value. They want quality. So we've even seen some shifts in customer behavior that make some of them want to pay more or even wait longer times to get value. So it's tending towards businesses, companies having to work on their brand proposition, working on their value proposition. if your brand does not resonate to my personal beliefs as a consumer, I most likely will not buy it. If your and then it's something about brands that speaks to everyone, speaks to no one. So you have to identify your market space, connect to them, talk to them, hear from them. We have to think branding, we have to think local presence, we have to think in person. We've already gone past the phase of, oh, because mine is cheaper, someone will come buy it. It won't work that way. So the gaps I see, for one, we have to work on our brands. Number two, you have to work on customer experience, work on customer retention, and also work on just making sure that your product itself is good, not focus on. I feel like if you have quality, people will pay for it. And also, we have some issues with supply chains where retailers just focus on their purchase order just focuses on one line, such that if that link is missing, then they will not be able to satisfy customer demands. And customer demands keep going up. And if you are not able to satisfy that particular demand, then you go red. It said that if you are not able to go green, you go red, you go out of business. So I think we should fix our supply chains so as not to fall short, so as not to get in scenarios of shortage. Fix our branding, fix our customer retention, fix our value proposition and brand proposition.
All right. Awesome. So there's a couple of opportunities that folks can definitely like. And I think for me, like, the larger you are, it's harder to actually like fix these things. And so you need someone who's very nimble to start focusing on this thing. And perhaps again, like, say, whether it's acquisition or like, again, to help like bridge that gap. But I think I agree with you, like, customer experience, I think that's a very big part. Or a big opportunity that definitely can grab, and that touches on the branding piece and the value proposition. So, how about you? You're building for your, like, what is one thing that perhaps you wish you could build for bumper merchants, but nah, we have so much on our plates that someone else perhaps could go after?
So I think that there are definitely gaps that we have seen that exist. To be honest, there are a few people already solving this,
All right.
and we think that there should be more players in the space doing it. So for instance, there's the identification, verification, fraud. It happens a lot, even on Instagram,
Right.
and we see that that's like some problems that some customers face, and
Yeah.
people like us, and even I think Paystack and some other payments platform are trying to solve that, with KYC and the likes. But we also see the social part. Socials in commerce have come to stay. Basically, most people would rather just close a sale on their social media rather than anywhere else. Even if you give them a website, well, the customer will be like, please just collect my order right now. And I'm sure that some of us are doing it. They will send you a website and be like, please, just this is what I want. And that kind of connection needs to happen, and some of the things that we are already doing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to be done in that space. So I would say identification, socials. I think credit is very important because.
Well, Klump is.
Yes,
Klump
because
is clapping at that.
people need access. There are people that need access, and as Celestine mentioned earlier, people want to purchase something now. They don't have the full money. They want to, they will save for it instead. So with more credit in the space, we definitely we'll be getting to that point where commerce is a lot more accessible to everyone.
All right. How about you? I mean, you're a group CEO, but I'm very sure there's some things that you're like, I wish I had this in my group. But what are those opportunities or segment or verticals that you think is still like ripe or would be beneficial to further build out this?
Oh, well,
commerce,
so
yeah?
I think there are a lot. First of all, we have about 200,000 customers onboarded on our platform, and we had to geomap all of those customers.
Wow.
So that is a lot of work that I think, and going forward, I pray someone solves it. That alone is like a big issue.
So if you're building any geo mapping solutions for merchants, talk to Alerzo. They have about 200,000 merchants. They want to like geo map. So yeah, if
it
you
was
can
a lot
take
of
that off their
work.
plate.
We ended up having nearly 4,000 employees, which
Wow.
is like massive, just to ensure that we're able to like perform efficiently. So that is one part. I think the other part is, we've seen in our space, for example, there's been the rise of buy now, pay later kind of. So we decided not to do that because we don't understand the creditworthiness of our retailers. And for me, if banks are not offering loans to my customers, I don't think I will.
Right.
I think banks are smart and they have a lot of money, so why do I have to take the risk? So if I can understand that, we're happy to sort of like have someone
own that.
do that. That's not our space. So that's
So-
another.
B2B Klump. I'm gonna say your roadmap somewhere, so you might want to fast track that for and test some pilots.
So that's
Okay.
another one.
Okay.
I think the third part will be logistics. Because for us,
Even still, like you.
450 delivery vehicles, not enough to even cover southwestern Nigeria, not to talk of entire country. So there is a player that can do that. We're happy to work together, even like with our own capital. Let's just do it, because trust me, we have long trucks, mini buses. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I think if we can have like people who could do that efficiently, we're happy to like partner together to solve that out. So those are like the few things I can talk about. Other than that, we've solved most of our problems internally.
All right. How about you, Celestine? Any greenfields opportunities on the horizon that you?
So I think comprehensive credit data. When I say comprehensive, credit data that covers every facet of your life.
Yeah.
You took money from a telco. How much do you take? You borrowed money from a cooperative. How much do you borrow? Did you take money from a loan company? How much? So all of those information that forms your credit profile.
Right.
It's one of those places that it's still not solved. It's a really tough problem, And we feel like one way that problem can be solved is a mini government intervention. For instance, credit report today doesn't have any impact on anybody's life on this panel, even on this room. You don't go to, unlike in the West, where you wanted to buy a car, you didn't see your credit report.
Yeah.
We don't do that here. So there are no consequences for people not, living up to the expectation. So if you can find a way to solve that problem such that if a person comes to you, you can have a 360 view of what their credit profile looks like, then you can make a good decision. So it's a long shot, it's a long problem, but we're looking at whoever can solve that. Then, because credit and money is something that you lose for the rest of your life. It's not a problem that you solve once and you go. Education, for instance, I might not go back to school, but I'll always spend money, So that's how we see it.
And do you think Klump is the jumping off point? Again, I know you said it might require mini government innovation, but let's assume that's not there. Do you think Klump, because some people like Klump might be their first ever credit exposure ever, like on the internet or participating in the digital economy. Like, do you think you also have a role to play in actually perhaps serving as a data point for credit history
yes.
and all?
Yes. Not just Klump, every single person, every single organization that sort of offers some form of credit. Paystack has a pot for staff to take loans. You can contribute to that data. A cooperative has a pot where people take loans. You can contribute to that data. So it has to be a point where every single node contributes to a main source. That main source becomes the source of truth for every other person, working around.
Right. Awesome. Perhaps a consortium of some sort, of fintechs and lenders and like at a certain off points, and perhaps get a buy-in from a few microfinance banks as well. And
So just to add, I know education was mentioned in passing, but I think education is something that we definitely need to solve for, especially around business owners. So,
okay.
So in reaching out to businesses, in letting them know about what we do at Bumper, there's a set of business owners, like the informal market that are not they are not necessarily fully educated in what's available to them. They are mostly they're the kind of people that will be worried about credit.
Yeah.
I don't want loan, or before you come and those kind of things. They don't want online payments. They're like, what?
I can't see the money.
So there's still a long way to go. And I know that people like Alerzo are trying to solve it for informal trades by using agents. In a way, but there's still that part where, even if I provide enough data to these very informal businesses, they are not able to use it to do anything. But we are saying that this is definitely not all of the business owners, but they are majority of the small business owners that we have in the country today. So it will need, maybe that's a kind of consolidation effort too, to ensure that we are all playing our parts in trying to educate the small businesses, small business owners, and things that are needed, to be able to use any of the platforms that we create, to use it efficiently for their own business management or growth.
What have you seen that has worked in helping people turn around from that hesitation to, okay, I'm going to participate?
We've been trying. Like last month, like June, we did something with Google for like it was like an MSME training, but the entire thing was done online. In that way, we're trying to help these small businesses with training, but then we've basically still cut out, a lot of people. So we would need like, should I say, more social enterprise grassroots training to happen. And I'm sure that there are organizations that are trying in that place. Maybe they need more grant funding or funding in general. It's something that, startups like us wouldn't be able to fund together. Like people like Money Africa. I've seen them do some form of grassroots training, trying to teach people about their financials, understanding those things, credit profiling. They will not get it, So how are we able to, help them do that,
I'm curious because you deal with many of this kind of like merchants. So how have you gotten them to like?
Oh, well,
come on board?
that's why I said we have a lot of people internally that are like doing all those trainings. Number one, the second, I think what's important is, with our own experience, like working with these informal retailers, they're very rigid. So it's hard to convince them to change from how they run their business. They'll tell you how their grandfather started it and how they were the one carrying it forward. So they're still very rigid and they're very, very scared of technology. For us, we've had to like buy smartphones for some of our top retailers so they can actually use smartphones. That's like I have one of our staff sit with them all throughout the day.
Them through.
Exactly. But they're still like largely rigid. And I think they have reasons, right? In as much as technology is solving problems, there are also some other, bad part of technology, right?
Very true. Very true.
Banks will tell you, don't share your PIN code, don't share like your PIN with anybody. But these people are, when they accept technology, and be like, well, I'm happy to like help me with this. So you see people exactly, and that expose them to a lot of a lot of challenges. But at the end of the day, I think they're still going through this learning curve. Over time, in the next couple of years, a lot of things will change. But I think it's still gonna be tough.
All right.
And
well, I've been told our time is up, so I want to just share like a closing word. Just again, perhaps talk about like what you're doing and how you see where do you see Klump in the next? I know it says day zero for you, but where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years regarding again contributing or playing a role in this future of commerce, as we've said? So just one line each, and then we can round up.
I think maybe we're just helping make credit mainstream. People still have that fear of loans and credit, all of those sorts of stuff. Lastly, by the way, if you're in my chance here, if you don't have a Klump account, please, we have a booth behind you.
Over there?
So just go talk to the people at Klump. They will set you up. Thanks.
All right. Alerzo, I know like it's been a long journey for you guys, but it's still the beginning as well. So what's the future for you?
Yeah, well, I think for us, the end goal is we've done a lot of physical work, including like infrastructures. But over time is to actually move more into building the softwares to make all this work. So find who has enough experience in the warehousing that wants to expand. How can we work together? We have the softwares already, logistics as well. And also, I think we've been having conversations with a couple of fintech businesses around payments for these informal retailers. Majority of them don't have bank accounts, so having to onboard them, create bank, help them with BVNs and all these other stuff. So, but end goal is let's create a platform for for these businesses to actually survive and also become more efficient.
Yeah. So it's right now you're going wide. Plan is to go deep and just again get as many people on board on the platform. Awesome. How about you?
I think
beyond Monday of our last Meta partnership.
The one thing they were looking forward to is seeing more interoperability in the space. Less inefficiencies. So how can a small business owner that is in the most remote part of Lagos be able to use a platform like Bumper, but have access to a lot of other solutions that makes life easier for them. Like they can easily start, run, and grow or scale their business from their mobile phone, no matter where they are. I think like that's like the future that we see and the future that we are literally building towards.
Awesome. I mean, I like, again, it's not just like run. I mean, you can actually start, again, participate, start your business, run it, and scale and grow it on your phone. So, yeah, all the best with that. And how about you?
Well, I think for us, it's more of building a suite of products that would help businesses alike to operate seamlessly. So basically, all kinds of business, we want to have something that helps them run their business seamlessly. And in addition to that, we're expanding beyond Nigeria to Africa. So basically, everything payments, we help you do it for businesses and for individuals, consumers as well. So yeah, basically, that's it for TeamApt.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. We have Klump, Alerzo, Bumper, TeamApt, and I'm Nubi from Paystack. It's great having a conversation. Please check out the booths, talk to them, see how we can partner, work together. You've heard about the gaps. It takes a village to build this, and so look forward to actually building that future together. But thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.